else. From energy and power issues, we can move to health today because an aggressive campaign is underway in Accra to prevent the repeat of the 2014 cholera outbreak that killed more than 100 people. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly has asked all sub-metros within the metropolis to intensify monitoring of sanitary conditions. They've also been asked to enforce the relevant bylaws for food vendors to comply with the proper and hygienic handling of food. We'll surely be joined in the studio by Benjamin Latte from the Coalition of Water and Sanitation for further discussion on this matter. But before then, Joining us, Lante was in town to check how the sanitation situation in Accra is. He first went to Mensa, Guinea, where over 5 lives were lost at the last major cholera outbreak in Accra.
Well, Francis, I am at Mensa, Guinea right now, and I must confess that this place that I'm standing used to be a bit choked and a bit clumsy. It used to be littered a lot and with a lot of structures here, but today it is very much spacious and a bit cleaner than it used to be. It tells me that probably the people of Mensa, Guinea have taken their health very seriously and they seem to be working at it. But let's go in there and speak to some of the opinion leaders in this community to tell us what they've been doing to ensure that the cholera outbreak that broke about 2 years ago that claimed a lot of lives does not happen again. Cholera has claimed many lives here, but today it looks a bit cleaner. How did you do that?
Actually, what happened was that because of the cholera case that happened last year, we, the elders here, took it upon ourselves to try and clean up the place every 2 weeks. So we started that when the AMA came around and then break down the places, you see. So from then, we started cleaning up the place. If you could see around, you see that it's more cleaner than the first time you came around. About a month or two ago, we have an NGO, an NGO organization that go 1547, something like that, and they came around. So we met with them and organized people, try to teach them how to keep the environment clean and then how to clean their hands and all that. So we did that around to the awareness of our people in the area. Yeah.
So that has worked.
So that has worked a lot. It has also helped people when they wake up in the morning, they sweep around, clean around before they start their work.
Now, what happened to the heap of garbage that used to be around here somewhere that I remember? What has happened to it? I've realized that the place is a bit flat, cleaned and all that. Where do you keep your garbage, or where do you throw your garbage now?
Okay, what happened was that we have a place down there, but now what we do is we do gather the garbage and then burn it.
The first time the demolition came here, it was because of the outbreak of cholera. So we ourselves, as the leaders around this community, we've been able to organize the place. I mean, places that are not supposed to be here, we have been able to quit out all those canteens. And we, the leaders, at least once, 2 weeks, we organize ourselves, we go general cleaning, tell people don't litter here, don't pour dirty water here, don't cook food then at a place which is not decent. You have to, if you are making something, you have to make sure that, yeah, what you are doing is something that will not bring flies or something like that. So we've been organizing all this. The chairman is here with me, as I'm telling you. Yeah, we've been mobilizing, making every place neat. This is what we're doing now, just to keep the outbreak of the cholera.
So now this is where it has been the area demarcated for dumping of refuse. And they have ensured that at least everyone moves away, at least 100 meters away from the dump, to ensure that the safety of the people is assured. According to the community leaders or the opinion leaders in this area, this refuse that you see here is cleared periodically. This area that you see here used to be crowded or choked with a lot of structures, but now it is cleared and it's clean. But let's move to the Greater Accra Central Business District to find out how the place...
So that's Lante. He's been to Mensa, Guinea. That's where a lot of the cases last year came from a lot of women who used to cook and bring to the market square will do their cooking from. It looks as though the place is a bit cleaner than it was last year and also 2 years ago. Well, Emmanuel did not end at Mensa Guinea. He actually went to the central business districts where before heaps of refuse is found in the midst of traders. Let's see what happened there.
We are here at the Tama station, and right behind me you can see the Zoom Lion truck here trying to clear all the refuse that have been heaped over here overnight. We are at the central business district of Accra. We can see from the road, from this lane to the other, that the place is clean. Hitherto, this is where they used to keep the refuse. They heap it up and it stays here for days and weeks without it being collected. But now, today, we are here and the place looks clean. Let's speak to some of the traders who are the hawkers on the street and find out how the place looks like. Fali femo ebie tamoten.
Biane bia che fine. Biane belo eba boss ye tejinam. Ame ba manke lebi kegbeke. Bo biane bia che fine. Mam ke das bi when mamoshi ni ka otomo ye no kwa banyo ka womi. Ke yiye ka ba chon. Biane mam ye fe for. Well,
she says that they have cleaners who come here 3 times a day. They come here at dawn, in the morning and in the evening to clear every refuse that is being disposed of here by passers-by, all the traders here themselves. But let me go back to her again. For days, weeks, ni dan abalo shikome. Biane mina ka benaka te baleten.
Obiane Accra me yo hani mam ye che fine because e hani bola lo legien e fa da gbe kan ba wo ka bola dwele chipa ba lo le ba lo ke ya e wo belu e ba bo sonde fe am ba bo na me lo ke ya e wo mam ye che fine.
Right, she says that now the AMA has taken that responsibility to clear the street, so now daily they come here to clear the refuse and leave it there clean. Emmanuel Ante reporting from the Central Business District of Accra.
Right, so 2 pictures we have now of what's happening in Accra. First, at Mensa Guinea, looks as though the sanitation situation is improving. And then at the Central Business Square, we're seeing a much better market in terms of the sanitation levels. But will this in any way translate into us seeing less and less cholera cases in Accra? Well, joining us in the studio this afternoon is Mr. Benjamin Latte. He is with the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
You saw Emmanuel Lante's report.
Yes.
With my eye as a journalist, I think it's a vast improvement. Do you agree?
I disagree with you. And one of the issues I disagree with you is the first that there are various ways in which cholera is being transferred. Now, when you went to Mensa Guinea, you said that they said they've cleared the place. However, there were open refuse dumps.
An area demarcated for it.
Thank you so much. And that is not the best way to treat the refuse. Now, one of the easiest ways that you could find cholera coming is the flies. Are they able to prevent the flies from going on those refuse? And I can tell you for a fact that perhaps if Emmanuel had gone further to look at what the refuse contained there, he might look like the refuse mix is part of feces, which is also one of the major sources of cholera outbreaks in this country, and then the air that blows from the feces as well. Now, going back to the central business issue as the lady spoke about, right behind that lady, if you get into that gutter, you realize what happens. Now, come the next time when it rains, see the floods and how it goes. There's another funny way people think that cholera always comes with littering of law. No, that is not the issue. Now, when people do not wash their hands properly, and if you go to the central business center, you see those who are then picking up the refuse. None of them is with gloves. And do you know what they do? When people come with their trash cans, they just put it there, and people pick the trash cans with all their hands. So now the dirt is in the hand, and therefore when he takes it back home, he's not taking the cholera back home. Now, that is one of the issues that I'm saying that the way we are trying, we cannot say that the cholera issue has been addressed effectively. We need to address it holistic. That means the way we treat our garbage, the way we package our refuse, the way we even handle ourselves, even after we touch all these issues. And then that is where the proper hand washing must come into being. Now, let's come to the issue of proper hand washing. You all know in Accra, we are now experiencing some kind of water shortages and things. The water level is not acceptable. It's inadequate. It's not available. It cannot be afforded. And it's not accessible. So take me for example. I walk into your toilet and I cannot wash my hands properly as I wash, and you just drop some water in my hands. Then I'm not done the proper hand washing. There are people who, because of the fact that their children go to fetch water and the water is so expensive, they ask the child, even if the child has to water and they take a little bit of water and they wash their hand, it doesn't clean the germ in the hand.
Okay, so your point is what? That in terms of our sanitary conditions in Accra right now, it may look nice, but there's a bigger problem behind it?
Certainly. Because once the issue is the fact that the lady was just giving us a clear story as to how the refuse are done. He says it's been done 3 times daily. 3 times daily where it comes on the floor, the flies come on it, the flies into the fish, the tomatoes. You go to the market and do a real survey about flies celebrations in the market, and you find out where are they coming from. What are the particles that the flies are literally on the. And one funny thing is that those ladies sitting there, I think that if the campaign has to go on with, they should all be arrested. They should all be arrested because why? Because they have not. I mean, they are a source of cholera contamination to the public. Because 1, they are selling uncovered food and it's against the law. 2, it's unhygienic. It's against the law. 3, it's a source of cholera transmission and it's killing us. So why should they be there? So I think that in order to address this issue, they should be the first people to address this issue.
Okay, now you monitor these things a bit better than most of us do. So in your view, AML has put out their cholera health alert, listing a number of things we should do. But from your point of view, what should we do?
We should do 3 things. And you know, when you have the WASH acronym, that is water, sanitation, and hygiene. The first thing to really combat cholera effectively is availability of water. You realize that most of our communities don't have access to potable water. Water then becomes expensive. It's unacceptable level that people cannot afford water. And then sometimes when you go to places where the pipes burst, then you see these children run into the gutter to scoop the water. Source of contamination. Now you find all these pipelines in the gutter, some burst and they run into our houses, source of contamination. So the water issue should be something we should look at properly. That is one area. The issue about sanitation comes with where you have the liquid waste and the solid waste. The liquid waste is the fact that the open defecation in Accra is still ongoing. You go to our beaches and it's free, and you go to our gutters and it is take away. And so what are we doing about those things? Those things must be properly checked. And if those things are properly checked, we then catch the source of the vector to when it gets to the people. So that is the part of the liquid waste. Now we come to the solid waste matter, and the solid waste matter is where, I mean, there's Lucia refuse in Accra. It's nothing to write home about. If we can really get people, I mean, right from the garbage, when the garbage is done, straight into a proper way of disposal, and then catch the fly, which is one of the sources of where this cholera is, then that is it. The other aspect is the hygiene aspect, which turns out the wash aspect in its entirety must be looked at in a holistic way, so that we can then attack the cholera issue in a more holistic way and save lives.
So, so as things stand now, in your view, we are still open to a cholera outbreak as a country?
Oh, I can assure you, we might have to, if everything goes well. One of my fears, and one of our fears is the fact that, come what way, if the rains set in and the floods come in, would it come up like that? And you know, when the flood sets in, that is where people throw garbages into the gutter, that is where feces and all those things come, that is where this contamination spreads. So we're looking at it like, well, having not been done as against the incoming floods in Accra, believe me, the floods in Accra will occur again. Believe me, the cholera would follow if the floods come in the way it has been. And I hope that this year will not go beyond the 150 that as it was last year.
Okay, Mr. Benjamin Latte, thank you so much for coming and for sharing your thoughts with us. It looks as though, in as much as we may be happy about the conditions improving, there's still a lot more work that has to be done. And talk of work that has to be done, UNICEF and the local government ministry have begun an outreach program on the need to prevent a cholera outbreak in the country.
We lost about 200 lives 2 years ago as a result of cholera. Last year, we recorded over 690 cases and lost 15 lives. Government is worried about this situation. We are worried because cholera is preventable. With UNICEF, we have embarked on a series of activities, one of which is what has brought us to the Choba in the ministerial enclave. The UNICEF has has donated some materials to us. Aprons, table covers. We also have educational materials as well. We have distributed to the women who cook in this area. The idea is to sensitize the public on the need to keep the environment very clean, and to also be conscious of the fact that cholera can break in this country at this time of the year. This year, government's target is to ensure that we have 0 incidents of cholera in this country. If we have the collaboration of all the stakeholders, inshallah, we will not have any case of cholera in Ghana. So far, it's very good. We are hoping that at the end of the year, we'll be able to achieve the 0 incidence of cholera in Ghana. But much depends on the people who cook food and sell water.
So that's the local government minister, Collins, that are speaking about what is being done to ensure that we don't see a major cholera outbreak in Accra and even in Ghana as we are entering, and we're already here in the rainy season. At this point, we'll go for a break. But there's more to come here on the show. President John Mahama today in the Volta region says his administration is the first to have corrupt officials being investigated and being prosecuted and dealt with. But is that true? Is that a fair reflection of what's happening on the ground? We will interrogate that. And also, the IPP is back in the news. That political party is back in the news. They're saying that they have a $10 billion plan to fix unemployment in the country. We'll bring you details on that after the break. Stay with us.